Hey, good evening. Welcome back. Just returning to the Pratte Pack Gym and also finding out that David Cassidy has passed away. He had been suffering from organ failure over the last couple of days, and his family had gathered at his side, and the 67-year-old performer has died. Now look, let's turn back those hands of time to the late 70s when I was a very young man, just past that 21st birthday, when I was on a vacation in Las Vegas, Nevada. And one night, somehow, someway, I ended up spending a brief moment with David Cassidy and his then girlfriend, Kay Lenz. It's been so long, I don't even remember the conversation, but I do remember he was a pretty cool dude, and he really was a very nice person, too. Hey, let's face it, when you're trying to relax yourself and get out of the limelight, even though it's your career, sometimes, the last thing you need is someone coming up. But it wasn't as though I went up to him, it just that we by chance happened to talk. And never did I really let on who I knew who he was or his lovely girlfriend at the time. But I did take a little time just to talk about life and about Las Vegas. Kay Lenz, of course, a very popular actress of the time. David Cassidy, and this is why it is such a small world, the family and our lives would cross again. Why? David Cassidy was born into a entertainment family. His father, Jack Cassidy, incredibly talented actor and performer. From Broadway to Hollywood, the big screen, the small screen, there wasn't nothing he could not do. He died tragically later in life. His mother, Evelyn Ward, also an entertainer. But Jack Cassidy would go on to marry Shirley Jones from Smithton, Pennsylvania, of the Jones Brewery family, which of course for many years owned that Stoney's beer brand that is still pretty popular in this part of the world. Well, fast forward to my early career at KDKA when I got the opportunity to be their spokesperson. And it was a real treat for me because it was a beer that my father actually enjoyed while I was growing up. So everything was okay with that opportunity as far as I was concerned. And then the connection was made and I started to realize, putting two and two together, yeah, what a small world. Who would have ever thought years earlier when meeting David Cassidy that eventually I would go on and actually have a chance to promote something that his stepmother, I'm sure, was very proud of, that great legacy. Well, David Cassidy, for many of you, you think of him as that teen idol. Yeah, he was that. I mean, he was also a good actor, too. Long before the Partridge Family and Keith Partridge, he starred in many of the television shows that I grew up with. Things like Bonanza and Marcus Welby and Adam 12. He really was a good actor. And then, of course, we all know what he did by getting the biggest role of his life, starring alongside his stepmother in that ABC television show that was a big hit. But this wasn't an actor trying to be a musician. This was a musician who could act. So much so that when he wrote and performed the song, I Think I Love You, it became #1 on the Billboard charts in 1970 and sold over 5 million copies. Later in life, he would write his autobiography, and Could It Be Forever? I understand demons. We all do, right? And he had many of them. But he was a class act and he was a true professional on and off the stage. And later he also had major success in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand in 1996 with EFX and another show in 2000 in Vegas entitled At the Copa, in which he starred with pop star Sheena Easton. So how do I feel? Well, I feel as though another part of my time and my youth has gone. But I also think that a lot of people don't realize behind that electric smile was one whale of a talent that really comes along once in a lifetime. He began very early and he worked very long and hard. Just a short time ago, it was diagnosed that he was in the early stages of dementia. So like that brightest star in the sky, it shines brightly, but really for such a very short time. So to David Cassidy and Shirley Jones and the entire family, I just thought it would be rather appropriate because, it's another part of my history to take time and say thanks for many years ago being so kind to me, Mr. Cassidy, and thank you to the Jones family for giving me that opportunity with then owner Gabby Podlucky and his family to be the spokesman for Stoney's Beer. Life really is a full circle. Sometimes it doesn't always have a happy ending, but one thing's for sure, I don't think any of us would rather be anywhere better. So long, David Cassidy, and you truly were a multi-talent. Good night from the Pratte Pack Gym.